Edwin is the architect of the people. Like the way he thinks, it's meant to make people happy.
He came down to Colombia. He knew my family, what we were about. We've been doing meetings for about a year now. So the human side of it was the most interesting thing for me.
Having been to your site and having seen what's around your site, and if you were to build housing back here, these units in the bottom would be just looking at their neighbors 10 feet away. So they wouldn't really make very good units, and you wouldn't really be able to sell them for a lot of money. If I had my choice, I would only want to live in these units up there. So maybe you should just consider getting rid of these. And then if you did that, we would have an opportunity to create a beautiful public plaza back here that are open to the retail in the bottom. And you could also rent for events and stuff like that. So that could create better value for these units up here. Architecture, it's really about making, nice spaces for people. It's just giving each floor a little bit more, and maybe not the cliche of a double height space that everybody seems to like.
We started, using the models. We started using building blocks. His approach towards design, I believe, is pretty efficient.
Since I graduated from Harvard Architecture School, I had the opportunity to work for one of the greatest architects of our time, who has a very close relationship with the artist, Gehry. And I've learned a lot from him, and now I'm trying to search for myself. This building would look better if it is all translucent. Right. So I also wanted to take out this piece and replace it with something that is a completely translucent block. Burak and I met when I was teaching at Harvard a couple of years ago, and Burak was my assistant at the time and student.
The reason why we want to bring Edwin to this project is because his intuitive approach to the city.
This is the waterway called the Golden Horn. This is the new mosque and the Spice Bazaar. So it's really in the heartbeat of Istanbul. The problem of the site, part of it is, of course, it's a pedestrian area that is heavily interrupted by traffic. If this is a gateway, you concentrate the crossing in the area and bring the people, or channel the people through the site, and using it as a way to kind of disperse them into the neighborhood. That's one way of dealing with this problem. In their proposal, they had planned to submerge this existing roadway to create a pedestrian connection to the water. But instead of submerging the railway, and since we already created this deck, why not make an elevated garden on top? It's actually much cheaper, because in Istanbul, if you submerge the road and start excavating, you're gonna start excavating Ottoman artifacts. So, and just by building on top of the existing road is a much more practical thing to do, and it creates this extra park that is a connection with this. And then people could use it, and this park could be like the People's Park that has arts and culture. It's just a giant canopy. I can't wait to put it on the site. Now I really want to see it. You have to use a lot of imagination. This is kind of like a flying carpet. I definitely think of the creative process as a creative journey. I don't have a preconceived idea in the beginning where I would end up. And I think you just kind of have to let the process evolve and you follow your intuition. So one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, until you probably arrive at the top of Everest.
We had this first moment of getting started. He was talking ideas and I was talking materials, no? And I felt that, he was a little bit disillusioned by me just concerned about materials when he was thinking about supreme things.
Usually, when you design a space for the arts, you want to create a fairly neutral space so that the art can speak for itself. And that's generally what you do for a museum or galleries. And I think what is so special about this place is that we're trying to create a space that is completely integrated with the arts. I had to create the spaces for the artists, and I knew already in the very beginning that the aquarium kind of belongs there, and then Mark Roshan's painting would be in the blue room with the piano. The hallway has always been like the third element in the room, and I thought the hallway belongs to the members of the chalet, and I knew then that because we had to accommodate so many lockers, that the lockers would be the architecture for the hallway. So in some ways, I saved the hallway for my architecture.
The beauty of things is like everything comes for a reason. It's thermically insulating, so you save yourself from air conditioning. He has sound property, so he content the noise into the amphitheater room. The fabrics are very beautiful, the wallpapers, all the finish. Like if you look at the details of this operation are pretty incredible. Like I'm very happy.
Nowadays, especially with the technology that architects use, space tend to be a little bit more prefab, for the lack of a better description. And this is more like a tailor-made suit, so I think maybe that's why people like it. It's making an environment that people can socialize in, and the art and the architecture and everything becomes one thing. Is a holistic experience. Creating opportunities to bring people together, I think, is the most important thing. That's what architecture is supposed to do.